Everybody, what's up? Welcome. Alright, but you yellow, mister. Follow.
Not ready yet.
There you go, mom. Mom. Not one. Why?
Need more time.
Come on, mom. There we go.
Needs more time. I need more time. The truth burns. Needs more time. Not ready yet. Needs more time.
Not bad. Let's try that yellow. Please follow, sir. Sir? Where the hell did we... Yellow! Coming? Kind of pathetic. Like, how is this yellow still over there?
Not
This is
ready.
enough, Mom. I would love to have more follow us. And you guys I would love to actually just come over here. There we go. Now it's good. Alright, come on everybody. Come.
I need more time. Needs more time. Need more time. I strike at your heart. Not ready yet. Need more time.
Okay, blue is down, yellow is still there, of course. So follow. What is he, like a teleporter? Will let him teleport to me, man?
Needs more
He's
time.
going so far. Two. Very nice. Okay, so maybe it's time to save him. Yeah. One of those things where, like, where are all the elites, dude? Come on down, everybody. Is there another one potentially? Okay, big booty. Come on down.
Not ready yet.
Guys over there.
I need mana. Needs more time.
Oh,
Need more time. Not ready yet. Your evil undoes you.
dang, oh, there's two?
Need more time.
Okay, wow, so we killed all of that? What the heck? Alright, so where's that yellow guy?
Not ready yet. Needs more time. Not ready
Nah,
yet.
that's the question. Where is the other? Here he is? Where is he?
I must wait longer.
Oh, he's in here somewhere. Oh my god, he's all through there.
Need more time. A perfect strike. Needs more time. Need more time.
Of course, he's not gonna want this.
Not ready yet. My strike is true. Needs more time. Not ready yet.
Okay. 86. Oh, quickly. Darn it.
I do not have enough more time.
Okay, well,
Need more mana. I cannot do that. Needs more time.
that would be nice.
Need more time.
And then we would need power. Or a great single player quality one like
Not ready yet. Needs more time.
that.
more time. Need more time.
Everybody come in. Come in, come in, come in.
Need more time. Need more time. Not ready yet. Need healing.
Okay.
Need more time.
Is it a power? Okay, okay, this could be somehow possible, y'all. Come on, everybody. Come on
I
here.
need mana.
Somehow.
Need more time.
I don't know how we're gonna get like boss to spawn and snatching on it. There's so many like thick copies. There's so many
Need more time.
here.
Not ready yet. I must wait longer. Need more time.
The Rift Guardian has come.
Who is he? 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 Come on.
Not ready yet.
Crap, I forgot that we need single target. Come on, buddy. Can we do it? Go, 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 go.
Need more time.
Can we do it?
Need more time.
You got this, you got this, you got this, you got this. You got this. Woo! That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Oh my goodness, the heart is pounding.
My name is
Wow,
Ash, and like
dude.
Ulrich, I once
Amazing.
served the ancient Nephilim. When the champions of ages past,
Jesus, my heart is pounding. That was literally per second. I mean, what do we have? 3 seconds left? Oh, and we got so lucky with the power at the end. And we made a mistake by spawning the freaking mobs with them. Thank goodness they were not fast and they didn't like follow us. Wow. Okay, let's upgrade these gems and then let's go and talk about what to how the build is. Let's try this.
I am returning to town.
Oh, come on. That could have been our second 150, y'all. Alright, don't worry. It's gonna happen.
Most impressive.
Wow. 2016, y'all. What a year that was, right? So anyways, as you guys can see, I am Paragon 2016, so just over 2K. What am I rocking? Well, after a few changes, right before we started pushing, we ended up not going with the Guardians set. That's what we were rocking previously, the Guardians, and we were not rocking Lakumbas nor Depth Diggers. But this time, I felt like the Guardian set didn't give us twice as much damage, right? But this does, because this is a separate multiplier from the Depth Diggers. Primary skills deal 100% additional damage. And the Guardian set also technically wasn't giving us, you know, a 50% damage reduction, and this does, well, even more. So, right? So we have a Lakumbas with physical, Depth Diggers for the 100% additional damage, also with Corpse Spiders, Brood of Arachyr. It's not a perfect roll, but it's my best ancient, and I felt like, you know, intelligence is the way to go. And then we're rocking the rest as Arachyr. Okay. The shoulders, gloves, armor, boots. We're also going with the Compass Rose and Traveler's Pledge combo. And then for our solo ring of buff is the Ring of Emptiness. And then, obviously, for the weapon, we are wearing Spider Queen's Grasp and Shukrani's Triumph. And let me show you what I have in the cube.
I've dug up some new things for you to take
I have
a look
Mask of
at.
Jerem in here. Now, what you can do is, based on which one you have that rolled nicer, you can either put the Mask of Jerem here and cube the Depth Diggers, or vice versa, which I ended up doing this way because my Mask of Jerem isn't that great, and obviously, as you can see, I found a Primal Depth Diggers. So, and by the way, as you guys can see, everything here is augmented with 125s, besides Ring of Emptiness, which is just not ancient, and the Compass Rose, which is also not ancient. Everything else that could be ancient, I augmented. Also, as you can see, I opted to go with the Sacred Harvester instead of the Echoing Fury. Where's the Echoing Fury here? Instead of this, because I needed the consistency while trash clearing. I felt like by the time we get to the point where mobs start dying and triggering Echoing Fury, it already too much time has passed by. You know, for us to really benefit. And then once the Ring of Fire is gone, Echoing Fury again drops off. And since I ended up switching out of Guardians and into Lakumba, I felt, well, that it was kind of the perfect opportunity to go with the Sacred Harvester, which is more consistent damage. And on top of that, I will be getting a consistent damage reduction, right? An extra 10% damage reduction, which, you know, when it's part of one, like, chunk, meaning here, you see it's 60% damage reduction from Soul Harvest, plus 10 stacks, which is 20%. That's a chunk of 80% damage reduction. So in one chunk, that is huge. If you have multiple chunks spread out across multiple items or multiple skills that give you the damage reduction, then you technically kind of suffer from something called diminishing returns. But if something is on one piece of gear or one chunk of damage reduction, you know, in total, the bigger, the better. So I'm like, let's use this opportunity to go with Sacred Harvester. And obviously, as you can see, we are wearing Ring of Royal Grandeur to be able to have Arachyr with 5-piece. And actually, that's pretty much it. So it's, you know, some people, like, if you go Guardians, you're kind of double dipping, meaning you're using Rorg for both the Arachyr and the Guardians, but this time it's only for the Arachyr, unfortunately, because Compass Rose is obviously a standalone double whammy here.
Prophet did not mention what a bore you can be.
What else? Skills. I also, you know, kind of weirdly decided to opt out of Grave Injustice. And it's for the same reason that I opted out of running Echoing Fury. It's because in the pushing variation, you know, you're not really using this. You're not getting the 1 second off of cooldown until things start dying or until you have a Ring of Fire, which is already, again, too late. Like, for any of this to benefit you that much. And on the Guardian, you know, that's it. I mean, on the Guardian, you could say goodbye to Grave Justice because really, ideally, you want a single target Guardian like we had, as you saw. So, this goes out the window. Same thing with Echoing Fury. That goes out the window for the Guardian as well. So I kind of went the safe route, the general, you know, consistent damage route, and more focusing on clearing, like, the trash, really, because single target is just, I mean, as you guys saw, is unbelievable. And, wait for it, the kicker, by the way, so let's just go over this. Pierce the Veil, this is what I opted out instead of Grave Justice. Normally this would be this, okay? But I went with Pierce the Veil. You need Creeping Death unless if you want to keep spamming, but I think that's a bad idea to keep spamming Locust Swarm. So you do need this in my opinion. Confidence Ritual, again, if you wanted to go the Grave Injustice route, you know, you could flip-flop between Pierce the Veil and Confidence Ritual. And then Swampland's Attunement is a huge survivability passive, and that's also a necessity, I would say. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to survive. But listen to this kicker. So, as you saw how crazy fast the single target Rift Guardian was? Yep. Well, that was even without Stricken. Look at my gems. I'm wearing Enforcer, right? That's mandatory. I am wearing Simplicity Strength, which is mandatory because it is a standalone separate multiplier. So it does not get combined, for example, with Depth Diggers, and it does not get combined with Blood of Arachyr, which says, you know, Corpse Spiders deals an additional 94% damage. It does not get lumped in with Pierce the Veil or Confidence Ritual. It does not get lumped in with Mask of Jerem. It's completely own separate multiplier. Which, by the way, speaking of what is, you know, put into the same chunk, well, Mask of Jerem, this 200% pets dealing increased damage, that gets lumped in with elemental damage. So, for example, this physical damage, yep, that gets lumped in with this, which minimizes the effectiveness of this 20%, in essence. So that's why you, for example, do not go with elemental damage here in your gem. Same thing here. I would prefer attack speed because attack speed directly and proportionally scales your pet damage. No breakpoints are required to like look out for, nothing. Just the more attack speed you have, the more damage. Not the faster your spiders attack. No. The damage gets increased, okay? That's why you also want increased attack speed on your weapon, because increased attack speed double dips for pets. It's a standalone multiplier plus, depending on, you know, how often you cast them, right? Like in our case right here, the faster you throw spiders, the more of them are attacking while they last, correct? So it pretty much almost like triple dips, but double dips is at least the minimum, fair to say. So, yeah, the main gem here is Enforcer. We need this. The Simplicity Strength, also we need this. This is a standalone multiplier, and it's a huge source of healing for us as well. And then, normally, you would not go with Trapped. You would go with Stricken. But spiders for single target are so strong that I preferred the trapped for the trash mob clearing so that I could get to the boss and and have a nice experience, right? If he's single target. And not worry about stricken. Just let's worry about killing the trash mobs, which is the 60% from trap. Which, by the way, this is my one and only 150 ranked gem because it's solo self-found, and I've only completed two 150s so far. This would be the third. Which, by the way, go check out my videos for those as well. I believe the Necro was not recorded, possibly, but the Zombie Bears Helltooth Witch Doctor was, and that's on my channel, and this is going to also go up.
Should I find some new attire?
So,
these old things are becoming so small.
What was I going to say? So yeah, trapped, no stricken. This build absolutely melts single target. It's incredible. And obviously, so let's go over some of more things. Obviously, I went with the Ring of Fire. That's also kind of a necessity. But I rolled an amazing 19% melee damage reduction on the secondary, like the rank 2 portion of the gem in the Sliver of Terror, which is huge. It really helps out for the damage reduction, obviously. And I'll show you why in a second. And then Dregs of Lies. After crafting a gazillion Dregs of Lies, which, by the way, that was my first gem that I actually ranked up, I believe, when the season started. All of these unusable. I have not been able to get an attack speed roll from the rank 2 at all. So I had to settle with a crit chance roll, but attack speed would be preferred, I would say, here. Because again, like I said earlier, it double dips. Okay? And the little mini stacking as the rank as the third rank for the gem. So it increases your pet DPS like up to 100% and then back down to normal, you know, etc., etc. As you guys saw, like that little number kind of fluctuating while I was playing. So yeah, this is my only 150 gem. This is 141, and Simplicity Strength, as you guys just saw, we almost were able to get it to 150, but we failed the last one. So not max gems. However, I am going to say this is a wonderful Traveler's Pledge that I found. Okay, this is the Golden Trio, attack speed, crit. And just recently, I think in the previous stream, or 2 streams ago, we finally managed to find our Golden Trio Ring of Emptiness, which rolled pretty awesome as well. Obviously not perfect, but the Golden Trio is always better than, for at least pets and the Arachyr build specifically. But yeah, for all pets, the Golden Trio is the way to go. Unfortunately, it's not ancient or anything like that, so I couldn't augment it, but that's okay. And then also the Compass Rose, pretty nice as well. I wish that the attack speed was higher, but the strength actually I do not mind whatsoever because that is translating over to armor. And as you can see, I opted to go with intelligence gems, although I was trying a whole bunch more with, you know, some rubies or emeralds for more armor because, as you saw, you know, there were situations where, you know, depending on where we were, it was a little hard to survive. But I think overall, you know, for the pushing variation, you are kind of fishing to get, like, you know, safer mobs, right? So I just went for all this, but I really don't mind the strength here. Anyways, everywhere else that I can grab attack speed, I did. Alright, so 7%, and you want the 7% roll if you can. I did not go for any area damage, as you see, so no area damage here, but armor, very important. I almost wish that I had armor instead of vitality on the pants. Okay, I would prefer that, to be honest, as well. Armor here, armor here. 993 vitality is way too much to give up for armor, even if that was a thing. What else? Here, I wish that I had, like, instead of the movement speed, that it was like an all-res roll or pretty much anything, but I couldn't find a better boots. But this is pretty nice. Also has melee damage reduction. And I was looking for a lot of the pickup radius on stats, which I was not fortunate enough to get a lot, but that is kind of an important stat because of Swampland Attunement here, which is nice. Also, let's see, what else can I talk about? So here, damage and attack speed. Again, I didn't go area damage because area damage, it's weird in the sense that, like, the fact that the web of the Spider Queen, right? The thing that it entangles, right? If you read this, that it infests the enemies that, you know, are touching the web or touched the web in the past. This is almost kind of like a, you know, sharing the damage type of deal. And I don't know how much area damage actually like helps out as much, or if it only applies to the monsters around it, which I have a feeling that that's what's happening with area damage. Meaning area damage is not the end all be all stat to go after here. Okay, this is not your typical pet build, like for example darts, right? Or like fetish darts, right? Or like gargantuans, right? So it's not about that. I do have 50% area damage from the Paragon, obviously, but besides that, nothing. But yeah, so armor here. I mean, armor as much as I can, but attack speed for sure. Wherever I can, I go attack speed. And here, if you guys had to opt or make a choice between, let's say you've got a crit amulet, and you have a choice between attack speed or physical damage, or like elemental damage of any type, you go attack speed. 100% of the time, especially when you're a witch doctor using Mask of Jerem. Yeah, because otherwise, no, definitely. Like if you're a different, like if you're not a witch doctor and you don't have access to Mask of Jerem, then you would go with what's it called, like physical damage or poison damage or fire damage or whatever. But for the witch doctor with Mask of Jerem, always you would go attack speed for any pet build, right? So, yep, same thing here. I didn't want area damage. I went with that. Now, Shrine's Triumph here. The damage roll on top, as you see, 482 to 594, is almost perfect. The intelligence is okay. Vitality, pretty good. Crit chance, good. 15% spider damage, very nice. I rolled that onto it. The 92%, the special, you know, after the Spirit Walk special, not that great. So this could be improved. Now again, let me show you. I do have a primal one, but again, I would be sacrificing vitality because it naturally rolls with mana regen. Shikani's Triumph, so it's very difficult to get one where you can roll the mana regen off, and this was one of those that I found that I could. So I did not even go with the primal one in this case, right? I have several, like this one as well, that I was able to roll the mana regen off, and I like this one a lot more than just your typical this one. This is nice for speeds, sure, but everything else, like this one, was also amazing. If I could have found like one like this that was primal, would have been awesome. Next, let's talk about the follower a little bit. So, the follower is going here. Cooldown. Now again, the reason I'm not going with amplification here is because that 10% bonus elemental damage gets lumped in with the Mask of Jerem, which is so much. It gets diluted so much that it's maybe, I don't know, like a 4 or 5% increase, not a 10% as it shows, right? And it's because of those diminishing returns. Then here, also for ranged damage reduction, huge. And then I did opt in for the self-res. Again, for damage purposes, attack speed would be huge, right? As I said, attack speed is king. It is king. But on the off chance that I would like lose my stacks for the Ring of Fire, I wanted to go with the Chief Death. The Enchantress is kind of wearing things that I do that I use for like farming keys or just speed GRs. I don't really change her gear that much, actually at all, really. So this is what she wears. The canes with a Ring of Royal Grandeur for the keys when I do that. And then the rest is just for the fastest attack and the highest cooldown wherever I can. So watch. I have a cooldown belt. Now here you have two options. You could go Witching Hour for the attack speed, or Vigilante belt, which is a Crusader belt, which I just managed to find randomly as a Witch Doctor. And that's the only belt that has cooldown on it. Talrasha's armor for the attack speed, and Dariel's Visage for the attack speed. And I gave her just a random Sliver of Terror just so that she could have more intelligence. As you can see, it's 1059 intelligence on there. Homing pads, kind of nice if you wanted to do some trickery and like going back to floor 1 if you saved a pylon there, for example, before spawning the boss. So homing pads is nice to get yourself back to town without, having much trouble. This has, potential with like some weird, some nice, workaround. So kind of important to have. Otherwise, you would use the ones that like make your items indestructible, I would say, right? So you don't have to keep repairing if you were to die. Gloves of Worship, which is required, but as you can see, attack speed at max, also cooldown at max, also cooldown here, right? What else? Nemesis Bracers, also a must, right? But they don't have any cooldown or attack speed. Flavor of Time, attack speed and cooldown. Unfortunately, I couldn't find one that had a higher cooldown and attack speed with intelligence and everything like that. So I just chucked this one on there, but that's not a big deal. I prefer the attack speed, so anywhere I could get attack speed, I got 7%, which I think is in every single piece of here, right? 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Oculus Ring, by the way, also required for those pools of power. And 7 on the Ring of Royal Grandeur to get canes to be maxed out. And the reason I went with attack speed, you might be asking why. By the way, the gems here, Gem of Efficacious Accent, I don't know if it applies, but I just put it in there just in case. I was trying out some things where I had the relic that gave her all her skills, and since we're using a pet build and using Enforcer, I was trying to see if she could stay alive, and so I was giving her like Esoteric Alteration, so she could stay alive. And I also had like Gizzard in there earlier, but I gave her a Zay Stone. Again, I don't know if the stun applies, but that 20% chance to stun, I'm like, you know what? On the off chance that it applies, I'll put it in there. You guys should do some more research. I will too, just to make sure that, if it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, then no harm, no foul, because she did reach the cap of 25,000 intelligence, so she's maxed out anyway. But the whole reason for this attack speed, right? Like, why am I going attack speed? Is because of this. So I want her to proc Thunder Fury as much as possible, not for the damage, but for the 30% attack speed reduction. Nothing else in the game, at least for the Witch Doctor, can slow enemies' attack speed. They could slow their movement speed, oh sure. They could, I don't know, I could put on Frost Burns and I could freeze enemies. But I can never actually slow them down, like, their attacks, right? Their movement, yes, but their attacks, no. This is the only form that I know of that does it. Probably this is true for a lot of characters, not only the Witch Doctor. So the attack speed reduction is, I think, huge. And it also obviously procs Bane of the Trapped, but you can proc it also just by standing next to them, or this, right, boosting their movement speed, or just anything. I think they're naturally slowed because of the web here from the spider, so don't worry about that. But that's why I have this. Also, look at that, just a Remnant of Pain gem with, and by the way, this is the only gem that I've ever gotten with attack speed. Again, not useful for us in this case because I prefer the Dread of Lies, but this is the only attack speed gem, so put that into your Enchantress's weapon for sure if you guys roll one. And see, attack speed roll here as well. This is super important. And then I re-rolled the native lightning damage to poison damage. Actually, not for this build. So I guess we don't have to talk about that. But if you were interested why that is, it is for the Essence of Anguish. This guy right here. When you see that it says every time you deal poison damage to an enemy, you increase your cooldown and movement speed, right? This actually triggers from poison damage that is on the weapon. Like, as you can see, the Spider Queen's Grasp of mine has cold damage, right? 1560 to 1940 cold damage, right? Normally, that if that was poison damage, it would proc the Essence of Anguish gem, even if my skill was not poison. It's weird. It's a weird interaction, but that's why I have the Enchantress wearing this, and she procs that for my other builds that require the proc for the movement speed and the cooldown reduction of the Essence of Anguish. So that's why I have her there. So look at her. She is... So the only thing that she's missing, which I could always opt for, is a Witching Hour, which would give her more attack speed, but she's rocking 2.5 attacks per second. And we, without any buffs, so you see there's no buffs from the Shrine effect, we are rocking 2.04 without any Shrine effects, which is amazing, okay? We hit at least the 2 attacks per second. Not breakpoint, but like you could look at it as, you know, like a flat double, you know, like 2 instead of 1, right? So that's like a nice threshold to hit. Now, for the last part here, let's look at the overall stats that I was rocking. So again, 2000 Paragon. With the augments, I was at 22.5k intelligence and 5800 vitality, which put me at 870k life. Next, let's go down the list. So this damage increase by skills, this comes from Pierce the Veil, and actually also gets lumped in with Shukrani's. As you can see, when I click Spirit Walk, this will jump up by 92%. So watch. There we go. So that's our regular damage increase. Which, by the way, that's also why, for example, Pierce the Veil, I was like, do we need it? I don't know, because it gets lumped in with Shukrani's. But then again, you don't really proc Shukrani's as often as you would normally, like in a speed, right? In a speed GR, because you're not using Grave Injustice, it's not coming off of cooldown as often. So that's why that's there. Skewed. Damage to elites, I'm pretty sure this is from the altar. And yeah, I think that's about it, because we're not rocking power, Bane of the Powerful, we're not rocking Stricken. Attacks per second, again, lovely, lovely. Our crit chance is through the roof, and that's because of that gem. Again, if I didn't have that 10% crit chance from here, we'd be sitting at 61.5%, which is, I think, near max. The only thing that we are not maxed out at is a little bit here, a little bit here, and a little bit here. Everything else, oh, and a little bit here. Yeah, I think 64 is max, if I'm not mistaken. So we're a little bit away. But it's good, because this means that your spiders actually crit more, right? We're at 480 crit damage. Again, crit damage wherever I could have. This is a nice perfect roll. This rolled 41. I couldn't change it. This, I for some reason cannot get more than 47. So yeah. Again, I was not trying to, you know. But by the way, just going back to the crit chance here, if I had the option of going with an attack speed and the correct rank 3, I would go with the attack speed instead of crit damage, or crit chance. Okay? Because attack speed just directly impacts your spider's damage. Area damage, like I said, I left it in almost by accident, but like, yeah, might as well get what you can get, you know, for area damage. But I wouldn't focus on it for spiders. Cooldown, the only cooldown roll, actually, we don't have any cooldown roll. The only cooldown that we're ever getting is from the gem and the helm, from the altar, if I'm not mistaken, maybe not, maybe the altar doesn't even do that, from Paragon, and from the follower right here. That's the only forms of cooldown that we have. And because we're wearing Sliver of Terror, right, we lose 25% cooldown off the bat. It is what we have left over from losing it, which is hilarious. Anything else? Let's see. So physical damage, again, I'm not worried that I only have one roll here. You could technically potentially say, hey, go with armor if you want more tank, right? But I guess it doesn't hurt to have a little bit more physical, right? And there's nothing better to have here besides armor, which, again, it's not useless. Armor is actually very nice. But this is why we did not go with amplification, because this gets lumped in with Mask of Jerem. And Corpse Spiders, I have all 3 rolls. So, legs, belt, and Mojo. Now Mojo is going to be hard to get a roll, okay? But try your best if you can, okay? Armor, again, I'm not too happy about this. Normally, I like to sit around 75%-ish, 76%-ish, like minimum, I would say, baseline, like percent damage reduction. So, unfortunately, I needed to just do it like this. Physical, cold, nothing too crazy here. I don't think I've focused on anything really when it comes to this. But remember, Swampland Attunement covers your bases with the exception of Lightning and Arcane. So when it comes to fighting in big groups of monsters, right, where they surround you, the only danger really is Lightning and Arcane. And unfortunately, yeah, let's see. Arcane, yeah, I'm higher than usual. And Lightning, I'm also a little higher than usual. And then obviously Physical is super good all around, like especially for the boss fight and also stuff like that. But again, don't worry about it too much because you're in
One
intelligence
time, I
class, so
miscast the
you're gonna
charm
get
spell,
plenty of this
and
anyway.
Sister Lysa was fawning
Missile
over
damage
me for a
reduction, only
fortnight.
10%. That's coming
It was
from the
mortifying.
Enchantress. And I believe maybe the altar or something. Or no, from here. Wait, no. That's missile. Where's the missile damage reduction? No. So it must be from the Enchantress and the altar. And then melee damage reduction, that's where the huge part comes from our Sliver of Terror. And from our chest, that secondary 6%. And I believe a little bit from the altar. So that's amazing. Also altar. Let's see what else. Yeah, bonus to Health Globe. This is from Paragon, and I have 5 for my gear. So that adds 10 yards to these 20 yards, which helps out a lot. I would say that's kind of important. And yeah, I guess I never, like this 12% movement speed, I guess I could technically take it out from here a little bit and add more intelligence, but I never ended up doing that. So don't worry about if you did that or not. And also, you don't need any maximum mana. Sometimes I say better be safe than sorry, right? So you're not running out. But guess what? Our whole build is about spending no mana. It's about throwing a signature spell, right? A spider, which costs nothing. So no mana required here. And yeah. There you have it, y'all. I don't think I've missed anything. Maybe while you guys, so like, if you guys want to just get a little recap of the gameplay, right? Like, what ends up happening, which maybe you thought it was a little weird, but what I ended up doing a lot of time is, you know, I would walk around, I would Locust Swarm somebody, like let's say, boom, Locust Swarm, right? Grab them all, bring them back, and then once I had them in, like, where I wanted to be, I would stand in the middle, okay? I would throw like a few here, right? Stand in the middle. But then, I would do this. I would just hold my mouse button down and go all around in a circle like this. Come on, there we go. And make a circle, like a merry-go-round, around me. So that infestation right there, you guys see that? That web right here? That web touches everything in the pool, okay? Alternatively, what you can do is, let's say, build things in the middle, and you walk around instead. But when you're walking around, you're not throwing spiders, because you kind of have to. I mean, you could, like this, like move your mouse back and forth. People do that, I guess, you know? And you have to go ring around the rosy to infest everything. But what does that do? Well, that creates damage, like, meaning you lose a damage buff from your Compass Rose and Traveler's Pledge because you're the one that's moving. I guess if you're in a tight situation and you actually need to survive, then that's the way to go, is to throw into the middle of the group while walking around to make everything stay infested. But then I also want to kind of spread out these webs that are on the floor, because what happens is when monsters are in there, they are also infested. But as you saw, what happens to the webs after a while? They disappear. Okay? So not only do you need to be in the webs for a while just to get your damage reduction, right? But it only lasts 4 seconds after getting out of it. Meaning you need to be in there as well, and you want the mobs to be in there. Okay? So infest them with the web. That's what I did. Like this. And don't do this necessarily all the time, right? Because then you want to start attacking you. Okay? If you see more mobs coming into the circle, look for them again, and do one of these things. And it's okay, because guess what? They all share the damage. That's the beauty of Arachyr. They share the damage. Let's read which pieces is there. The first piece where it says set for 2 pieces, I think. Yeah, let's read this. Summon a permanent Spider Queen connected to you by an infested thread. Enemies caught in the thread are infested. Okay, cool. That's what I was explaining right in there. So to infest them with the thread. Corpse Spider attacks against infested enemies and inflict the same damage to all infested enemies. See? So now, pretty much they all share the pain. They share the damage that you're doing as long as they're all infested. Okay? And it happens to be kind of often that, you know, if you don't do the merry-go-round once in a while to re-infest, well, guess what? Half the mobs don't get infested, you know, or even they just stop taking damage altogether. Like, it's really kind of sad. But you'll notice it, and then you're like, oh, crap, I should have done that. You know, I should have reminded myself to infest again, even though, like, you think you infested everything, but chances are you might have to re-infest. And then, yeah, and then the only reason that I had, for example, which I don't know if I even went over my skills here, this was Widowmaker's. Just, you know, you could take anything really that you want. But remember, the original is 576. This is your next step up, which is 645% weapon damage. And this is your even higher step up, which is 700% weapon damage. And it's literally for that reason. It's for that 700 weapon damage. Because I don't need them to be leaping. Okay? By the way, we have the Spider Queen, so we don't do this. We don't need crowd control because everything else is already slowed because of the webs. And we don't need mana. So why not go with the highest damage dealing rune? Also, Cloud of Insects. I opted for Locust Swarm Cloud of Insects instead of Pestilence, but in general, Pestilence is my go-to because I could literally see it going across the screen, and I know mobs are going to be aggroed, and I know they're going to start to notice that I'm around them, okay? And I don't have to worry about, you know, recasting it. But for the 150, I feel like this came in very handy. Extra damage reduction. Then let's go over the obvious ones. Soul Harvest Languish, okay? That's for the armor, and it's for the Lacumba portion of damage reduction there, okay? Because on top of the Lacumba, we're going Sacred Harvester, which gives us 10 stacks instead of 5. I mean, amazing. Which also actually gives you an extra 15% intelligence. NATO, obvious, is for grouping. Spirit Walk Jaunt, now I'm a huge sucker for Severance for that movement speed, but as you guys even saw, dragging mobs at such a high GR level, they can't even keep up with you if you're using Severance. So you might as well go Jaunt and be slower because they are even slower than you. So, the whole point is for them to be able to, catch up, stay caught up with you, and 3 seconds of extra, or 1 extra second of the Shukrani bonus is kind of huge, especially on the boss. Again, I don't even know if we would be able to do that 150 successfully if we didn't have jump, because we used Spirit Walk twice for sure, if not 3 times on the Rift Guardian. So, or even more, I don't know, because I was panicking. I was not thinking. All I know is that I was flicking it so that I could get as much Shukrani uptime as possible. So that's kind of huge for the pushing aspect. And then the unconventional maybe would be summon Zombie Dog's Leeching Beasts, and that is because each of their attacks give 100% of your life on hit. Okay, that's how much they heal you. Now, where's that coming from? It's coming from this gem. If I'm not mistaken, right? Yes. Do you guys see that? Normally, people, normally on a regular, let's say, off-season or a different season theme time, you would never put a Flawless Royal Amethyst into your weapon for life per hit. You always go with what? Crit damage, right? Well, this gives you that life per hit automatically. So with the Paragon, you are sitting at what? 37,000? So imagine you have 3 dogs, 37,000, 37,000, 37,000. That's over 100,000 life for each of their attacks. So imagine that they attack in unison, they attack at the same time, and let's pretend that they attack once a second. You are literally getting 100,000 life once a second. And you don't have to worry about it, right? And that's on top of the healing that you get from Simplicity Strength, which is 4% of your maximum life, which is not that much. 4% of 870k. What would that be? 1% is 8.7k. So let's round that up to 9. 9 times 4 is 36, right? So, and let's just say 35, okay? It's going to be roughly 35,000 from your Simplicity Strength that you're getting, but that requires you to attack, and you're getting over 100,000 just from your Zombie Dogs. This is the only way I could see myself surviving. I don't know how people do it without. I think it's too risky, and I think it gives you too little uptime on Traveler's Pledge and Compass Rose combo because you're, I guess, moving around more to stay alive. I mean, I don't know how people do it. So people will sometimes opt to go for Big Bad Voodoo, alright, for the extra attack speed and the damage. They either go Slam Dance or whatever, maybe Jungle Drums to make it last longer. But remember, without Grave Injustice, you're screwed. You know, you're gonna actually have to wait 120 seconds for it to come back up. And by the way, it does not follow you like it would using Munzanugu, right? Munzanugu has that nice thing where the Big Bad Voodoo follows you and lasts twice as long. This one only lasts 20 seconds. So I don't know if I'd be down to use a skill. How many times would that be during your Rift? That's 15 minutes. You have a 2-minute cooldown. Let's say to use it 7 or 8 times during a Rift, I don't think it's worth it. You know what I mean? So that's why I went with Zombie Dogs. But again, Leeching Beast, by the way, more specifically. It's not about the other things. Completely no. I don't even care about lifelink. I don't want the damage reduction. I need recovery, right? Your other option that I was considering that's not Big Bad Voodoo, because I don't like the Big Bad Voodoo variant, would be Horrify. And if you go with Frightening Aspect, this gives you even more armor, and it gives you crazy crowd control. Okay, it could stop enemies in their tracks when they're about to do a big thing, like a big attack. Like for example, I mean I don't know, like it's a pretty strong thing, horrifying, and it's only a 10-second cooldown, which is amazing. But again, that kind of brings up the question: how are you healing yourself? Besides using Simplicity Strength heals, there's not much that is going to be able to heal you. You know, we're not using the Templar, which, by the way, you could also opt to use the Templar. Let's go over
I've
what
dug
we
up
do
some
here,
new things for you to take a look at.
You would most likely go for
why
this,
are you
which
here,
would be your
Templar?
healing.
I swore an
You
oath.
definitely would want
Surely
this
our
to
friend would
slow,
have
'cause
helped you
don't
without
want,
such an oath.
well, you could
Not to
take the
our
regen
friend.
life, but it's
To
so
my
little that
order.
it's embarrassing.
I mean to recover the lost tome.
And you don't want any
always
charges
do
or
what
like
they
things
tell you
that,
to.
you know,
Of course. You
do
have
weird
no
things.
honor. And
You would
not
rather have something
understand.
like this, like that gives you extra damage. But this again, I think, gets lumped in with Shukrani and like Pierce the Veil, and then you would have that self heal, right? So, wow, I know that was a super long explanation, but I was super excited about doing this season for Arachyr Spiders, and here it was, right? And we're only 2K Paragon, so that's what ended up happening. Well, anyways, y'all, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed kind of the guide and the overview and the run, give the video a thumbs up, hit the like button, and obviously share it. Share it with people, right? Share it on your social medias, because I actually don't see that many Witch Doctor videos out there whatsoever. I feel like it's an underrated class. It's one of the weirdest classes, but my all-time favorite, and I only play Witch Doctor, as you can probably see from my channel. I'm exclusively a Witch Doctor player with a little bit dabble in Necro as my secondary, kind of just for fun. But yeah, if you enjoyed watching this, share the video so that maybe other people can try the Witch Doctor and see if they enjoy it. It is super strong. It has other builds that are also super strong, not as crazy as, you know, some of the other characters that could, I don't know, just do craziness, but it's definitely probably the most unique class for sure. And I hope you guys fall in love with it as much as I have over the years. I hope you guys are enjoying season 36. Let me know how you guys are doing. If you guys have completed your first 150, and what build that was on. And yeah, make sure you guys are also subscribed, yeah? It lets me know you guys want to be part of the community, especially if you guys like Diablo 2, Diablo 3, even Diablo 4. Welcome, you know, come on in, subscribe. You don't have to have notifications, but I'm sure it helps out the algorithm and the channel, just to know that people are interested. So I hope you guys are enjoying season 36. Like I said, join me whenever. All of my videos are in the live section mostly because I stream. So go ahead and check those out. Anyways, peace out, YouTube. Take it easy, everybody. And I will see you again in the next one. Peace out, y'all.